Hello, everyone. I'm going to say a couple things today that I don't know if it's on your mind, but it's been on mine since the whole immigration thing happened, and I was involved with a person that I had to go to the federal court building, and I went with them to see what goes on. And the judge was relatively fair, to tell you the truth. But I want to read this to you because this is very important. It's a shame, but here it goes. My name is Daryl Guberman, and all I can tell you is this, from Thomas Paine, my mantra. It's been that way since I started my business in 2011. I love the man who can smile in trouble, who can gather strength from distress and grow brave by reflection. 'Tis the business of little minds to shrink, and he whose heart is firm and conscience approves his conduct shall pursue his principles unto death. Thomas Paine. And my favorite was from Dwight D. Eisenhower. He said, "It is not the size of the dog in the fight that counts. It's the size of the fight in the dog." President Donald Trump's rich friends ask, "Who's going to cut my lawn?" QA expert Daryl Guberman breaks the silence on insider immigration shift. Ladies and gentlemen, my fellow citizens, we are tapping away on a very heavy subject about immigration. My feeling has always been put up the wall, but open up Ellis Island again. Let the immigrants come in the right way, as my relatives did years ago, 100 years ago plus. We find ourselves at a pivotal point in American political discourse, one where truth must overpower distortion, and leadership must be rooted in accountability rather than convenience. In the past week, President Donald J. Trump made headlines once again, not because of a bold policy blueprint, not because of a visionary outlook of America or for America, but because of a whisper behind closed doors. And those whispers are now echoing across the nation. Through a trusted insider in Washington, and I was there 3 times, so we have some contacts there, and other places. I, Daryl Guberman, a 40-year quality assurance expert in aerospace and other industries and materials, can confirm what many suspected, but few dare say out loud. The tide of immigration is not shifting because principle of patriotism. It is shifting because Trump's wealthy friends turn to him and ask, with discomfort in their voice, "Who's going to cut my lawn, my hedges, do the pool?" Let that sink in, ladies and gentlemen, and the truth is very stinging. This is not about national security. This is not about protecting the American workforce. This is not about legal versus illegal immigration. No, this is about manicured hedges in gated communities. It's about harvests not being picked on time for high-end restaurants. It's about construction sites lacking the unpaid labor or underpaid labor workforce that makes mansions rise quickly in Palm Beach and golf courses stay pristine, like in Mar-a-Lago. President Trump is now hinting at adjusting the stance on immigration, subtly repositioning his platform, not because he has reevaluated the complex, painful realities of immigration and migration, its effects, but because he's getting pressure from the same elite circles that built his empire and funded his rise. These same voices are now panicking because their luxuries are being inconvenienced. They don't see immigrants as human beings. They see them as tools, as conveniences, as bodies to fill labor gaps. And now the labor pool is tightening. Their true motivations are exposed. And here's the danger, my fellow Americans. When policy is dictated not by ethics, but by who's trimming whose hedges, then democracy itself is no longer by the people and for the people. It becomes a transaction, a backroom deal, a favor traded for silence. Now, let me be clear and very clear at that. I believe in a strong, lawful immigration system. I believe in vetting. I believe in sovereign borders, but I also believe in dignity. I believe that the people who build our homes, pave our roads, grow our foods, and yes, even mow our lawns deserve better than to be used as pawns in the politics of privilege. This isn't just about immigration issue anymore. It's about moral reckoning. I call upon President Donald Trump and every so-called patriot in Washington to come clean. Tell us the truth about what changed. Admit whose whispers you're obeying. Stop using the working class, both American and immigrant, as pawns for re-election. Why do you think in most companies they have human resources? Because most of those people, and I worked under those regimes, human resources, we are just garbage for them to get in and get out. Use us for what they do, and that's it. Unbelievable. Human resources. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Stop using the working class, both American and immigrant, as pawns for re-election. Start leading with honesty, not hidden agendas. To the American people, I say this: wake up, ask why, ask who benefits. Because the same man who once said he'd deport millions, who built walls and campaigned on exclusion, is now quietly bending not to public will, ladies and gentlemen, but to private pressure from his billionaire allies who don't want to push a lawnmower. This is not leadership. This is hypocrisy at its most elite. So yes, the question was asked, who's going to cut my lawn? And now the answer is clear. Not your concern. Because this country was not built on manicured lawns. It was built on truth, labor, and justice. And no man, billionaire or otherwise, should get to rewrite immigration policy just to keep his backyard looking sharp. And ladies and gentlemen, I leave it there. I was in Washington 3 times to the charades of Washington meetings, DHS subcommittee, twice. Once with Sam Salapar, the whistleblower on the 777, 787. We just saw a 787 go down in India. And we haven't gotten the root cause of that issue, but they do have technical issues from the very inception of that aircraft. We know, we've got all the documentation. We also went back and saw David Calhoun after the Alaska door popped on June 18th, 2024. What did we discover? Calhoun knew nothing about aerospace. Maybe golfing, but nothing about aerospace. And then we went on April 2nd to see Kelly Oberg, again in Washington, another charade with Ted Cruz and Maria Cantwell. We gave Maria Cantwell's people my booklet that I had sent a week before to Ted Cruz. Did you hear from them? Neither did I. And I will give you a sample, ladies and gentlemen, of all of this mess. In Connecticut, we have 3.6 million people, divided into 7 representatives. That means they have to watch over 500,000 constituents each. If you write a letter and you feel that it is important and you mail it in, you may get a response. And then on the other hand, you'll get a form letter that doesn't have anything to do with your topic that you wrote your representative. That's not the way this system is supposed to be run. Today, if you're right, you're wrong. If you're wrong, you're right. Today we see criminality as acceptable and honesty as deplorable. I leave it here, ladies and gentlemen. My number is 203-556-1493, and I thank you.